Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are on the road. We've got a long 12-mile trip ahead of us. We just left Minnesota and we're heading back down to Memphis, Tennessee to get back to St. Jude. But we had a pretty amazing extended weekend in Wabasha, Minnesota. We participated in the Dick Hiley Bass Classic, which is a St. Jude Children's Research Hospital fundraising event, and it was so incredible. It's an event that I'm going to be a part of for many years to come. It was very touching, and they raised over $852,000 for a cause that is obviously near and dear to my heart, because my daughter is going to St. Jude being treated for neuroblastoma cancer, and all those proceeds, every penny of that $852,000 goes to St. Jude to help end childhood cancer. So it was a super cool event, and it's a perfect opportunity to start a new series that I've wanted to do for a while here, because us tournament anglers, we're constantly traveling, and we spend a lot of time in the truck. And we have these great conversations with each other. You know, we call our friends that are also fishing the tournament, and we have these great conversations that just pass the time away very quickly. So we're starting a new series, a new type of video concept here called Road Trip Time Machine, where I essentially just bring you guys in to those conversations that I have with my tournament buddies, where we talk about a whole bunch of different topics regarding tournament fishing. And today we're going to reach out to my buddy Matt STEFAN, who had an opportunity to come to the event as kind of a spectator. He even went to the banquet the other night, and he was, I think, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think he was pretty impressed with the Dick Hiley Bass Classic, as I was as well. So we're going to go ahead and call him right now. Let's get him on the line.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging
Figures.
system.
All the time. We're going to try him again. We got you this time.
Yeah, you called and I accidentally hit I went to hit accept. I'm driving and I hit a bump and I hit the wrong button.
Just out of reflex.
Well, I mean, it was involuntary bounce of truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
What's
dude.
going on?
Well, I'm like hour and a half out of Lake City there. But, dude, it's a beautiful day out here just driving around. This part of the country is like, legitimately, if I could move up here, I would do it in a heartbeat. I've told you that multiple times, but I think that we're pretty much settled in East Tennessee. I love our place in East Tennessee, but it's pretty amazing up here. I would seriously consider buying a summer home if I had those kind of funds right now.
Well, everyone's always like, move south, Matt, move south. And the thing is, like, I mean, I'm out running errands right now, or just finished it, and it's such a perfect day. Like, yeah. It's shorts and a sweatshirt, perfect sun, like no wind. It's just a beautiful, crisp, cool morning. And this is what the summers are like. Like, it could be July in August, and it's 55 in the morning, 75 in the afternoon, and it's like perfect. And it's one of those things where, like, winter rolls around, it'll be like February, and you're like, why do I live here? And then you start getting some nice days in May, and you're like, oh yeah, this is why I live here.
Right. Yeah. This part of the
I would like to do the opposite. I would love to have a house like down around where you're at for the winters, and then be able to fish year round, use it as a traveling location for tournaments, and then in the summers when we're not fishing nearly as many tournaments, get to enjoy the.
And that is obviously going to happen on this deal. That's going to be one of the technical difficulties. We just lost him for some reason. We'll call him back.
What happened? Did you lose me? I've been talking this whole,
I know, no. I literally just lost you like 5 seconds ago. This is so the new concept that we're doing here that you're part of is called Road Trip Time Machine, and so that's obviously going to be a technical difficulty we're going to have to just deal with on a regular basis. Is just losing coverage here. But yeah, we're driving through Iowa right now, so I remember on the way up here, I lost conversations several times, so whatever.
So wait, you're driving through Iowa?
Yep.
What are you on, the 63 or whatever?
That sounds about right.
On a main highway.
Yeah, it's like a 2-lane highway, and it's pretty nice.
You gotta be careful in Iowa towing a wrapped boat and truck.
Really?
You got your not fire sticker on? Yeah, they understand federal regulations when it comes to like the DOT number. They think that if you're a wrapped boat and truck, you need it because you're hauling product. And they like to give tickets for that. So I carry magnets. They're not for hire magnets I slap on the doors, but I actually try to avoid Iowa if possible.
Really?
But, yeah, there's been a lot of guys who have gotten tickets over the years.
No
and if
kidding.
you go and fight them in federal court, or in court, you have a good shot at getting out of it because we do not necessarily, according to federal rules, we do not need a DOT number. Now, some people would argue that, I guess, but if you go onto the website, look at it, we do not fall within guidelines where we would need it. But Iowa cops apparently think, and I've also heard New York is trying to give a ticket for it too.
Yeah. That's super weird. I never heard of that. I did get pulled over in Lake City when I was up there. I got a warning.
What were you doing?
I was speeding a little bit. I was just amped up in the morning, and it's hard when if you let your guard down, it's hard to like manage 30 miles an hour. And I pushed it like above 35 a little bit, and I got pulled over, and it wasn't a big deal. He was super nice, and it was like the tournament morning, and he just let me off with a warning. But he did ask if this was a commercial truck, and I was wondering why he asked that.
He asked if it was a what truck, Miles?
A commercial truck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, but anyways, it's funny we're doing this right now because I do legitimately recollect on the way up. I called a couple people, and this route in particular, I think it's switching in between towers. I had several drop calls, so I just we'll probably have to call each other back occasionally, but we can kind of edit in between, I guess. But anyways, so dude, you got to participate in this event for the first time. Well, kind of like spectator, wise. I was actually fishing it, and this was like, I'd never heard. I heard on BTL, Matt Painrack talked about this tournament. In fact, I thought it was on like the Great Lakes or something. I thought it was in a completely different location, but I didn't know much about it. And obviously, since what my family's going through, we're at St. Jude right now, and so it's a perfect fit for me to come up and fish this tournament, because number one, I don't get to fish any tournaments this year, and number two, I want to give back to St. Jude, which is very near and dear to our hearts, however I can. And this was like a perfect opportunity for me to donate some money to St. Jude and also fundraise for it. So I came up, and then at the day one weigh-in, I was really excited to see you guys at the weigh-in to come cheer, me and your brother-in-law Scott on. I fished with Scott in the tournament, and so you and Sarah and the boys came down, and that was pretty special. But what did you think?
Well, I wasn't, I wish I could say, Miles, that we had planned to do that, a long time ago, but it really was something, my poor performance at Lake Eufaula allowed me to come home. I got home late Friday night, and Saturday morning, Sarah, we woke up, we're like, well, let's do something as a family. And Sarah's like, let's drive out and see Miles and Scott fish the St. Jude's Tournament. And I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. We like to take these little weekend trips with the boys where we just kind of go visit little towns and kind of explore. And this was a great opportunity for us to go over there. Now, our original plan was kind of to go watch you weigh in and, maybe have dinner or something with you. And then when we got there, we kind of quickly realized that it's like a whole weekend of events. It's not the tournament is awesome, but it's not about the tournament, at least from my standpoint. Like, we kind of crashed the party, if you want to put it that way. Right? So we showed up, and instantly we were treated, amazingly well. Like, I was so surprised to see how many people I knew that were not anglers, really. Like, there are people that were there to help, or people like sponsors. The St. Jude's, staff were there, like, Gretchen and Katie, and it was like instantly we were like welcomed. It was a really kind of an odd experience because of how welcoming we were, or how welcomed we were, but at the same time it was like, we're not even part of it. We're not even anglers or fishing. We just came to basically root you and Scott on, and some of the other guys that I know that fish it. And quickly it was like, hey, we got the banquet tonight. We'd love you guys to come to the banquet. And so what we thought we were going over to do was kind of have a little bit of an exploration type weekend over in the Wabasha area, and it turned out to be really a full St. Jude's weekend for us, which is 100% okay, because my takeaway from it was I 100% want to get involved in this, and whether that's through just fundraising or fishing or doing whatever I can. Like, this is such a it's such a well-run event where you really see the value that our community, being the fishing community, has grasped and at the same time excelled in terms of generating funds for St. Jude's. And, Miles, you're one of my best friends, and having you are going through firsthand, and that, I think that hits home for Sarah and I, to the point where now it's like, it feels like it's something that is part of us as well. Even though you're the one going through it, we see the value of, hey, there's a lot of families out there that need St. Jude's, and we've got the resources and the time and the platforms that it would be a waste for us to not try to do something.
That's how I felt this week too. Is like, I didn't know what to expect. Pangrak tried to prepare me for it, but you hear about a benefit fishing tournament, and you're just like, okay, it's just you guys coming in, they're not really that invested. They're there for the tournament, right? Like, the tournament's the key part, but it was actually the opposite. It was like, there's a tournament happening during this really intimate, fundraising event, and these guys are fully invested. And that was something that Matt said to me before, was like, you know, once you fish it, you'll always fish it, right? And he's 100% right, because if the schedule allows, you know, obviously our tournament schedules are kind of messed up and pretty packed this time of year, but if our tournament schedule allows, like, even if I can fly in just for a couple days, like fly in for you know, Saturday evening and the tournament on Sunday, I would do it in a heartbeat, just because it's like, I feel like it's, especially what we're going through, it's so important for me to do whatever I can to support the tournament. And the thing that, honestly, I think that there's so many good opportunities for like people like yourself and me and Pang Rack and everybody that has at least some platform to promote it, you know, to really get people to understand, like, this is not just a fishing tournament. You know, like, they raised $852,000 for St. Jude. And I just want to, like, dude, we've talked about it at length on the phone, right? Like, we've had conversations where I broke down, you know, with you on the phone and you know, with what we're going through, and it's been a tough experience. But one thing that I've told you, like, many times before, is, like, I couldn't even imagine doing this anywhere but St. Jude, you know. And you know, just imagine getting that call about your daughter having cancer, your son having cancer, and just the fear and the hopelessness and all that, and then discover that there's a place like St. Jude that will take you in and, you know, treat your child and never send you a bill, and so just you can just focus on your kid. It's pretty crazy. And then to have an event like this in the fishing industry that really is so misunderstood, or not misunderstood, but it's not talked about near enough. Like, that's the thing that blows me away, is to have an event like that even the surrounding area of Wabasha doesn't even really talk about it all that much. I think it's like, we have to do something for it.
Well, and you know, I think there's kind of there's a fine line to walk there too, because they've raised almost $1 million. Last year they raised $1 million. This year a little less. The crazy part about that, though, is you're talking about like 87 teams they had this year.
Right.
So it's not like there's 500 boats doing this. It's the guys that do it are so dedicated to it, and it's almost like you got to be the right fit. Like, if you're going there to fish this specifically for the tournament,
it's not the place for you.
It might not even be the right fit. Like, that's the weird thing about it, because there's part of me, after experiencing it, I'm like, how is every team from Minnesota and Wisconsin not fishing this? Because it's a high dollar event, big payout, but it's also because it's not the right fit for everybody. Like, and I'm not saying that like that's negative. Like, the teams that don't fish it, it's not negative, but it's almost like the guys that fish this, the priority for them is raising money and bringing awareness. And don't get me wrong, they're there to win the tournament too. Like, they're the best fishermen on the river in that area fish this tournament. Right. But when you look at what they're raising, I mean, teams were raising $50, $60, $70, plus $1,000. Like, the tournament ended this weekend, and they're already starting fundraisers in the next, month or so. Yeah. Because, they want to win, and they know that if they generate, I think it's if you generate over $5,000 in fundraising, you qualify for the $25,000 first place prize. But they could stop at $5,000. They'll have that after their first fundraiser, but they're going to be doing it all year, and that's the thing. Like, it's a very well-known tournament in this area. Not everybody fishes it, but everyone, I think, is aware of it, and there's a lot of good fundraising for it. But the thing is, feel like you and myself can kind of follow Panger's lead, where he's bringing a lot more national awareness to it, where
Right.
maybe these aren't going to be guys that decide to fish the tournament, but if you and I can expose it and help generate donations from people that otherwise would not be contacted, or have the benefit to do it, I feel like then for you and I, it's a really positive way to go about it. And I'm already committed to doing a bunch of stuff to fundraise dollars. Like,
same here.
I don't know how much I'll be able to generate. I would love to utilize my platform and think that people that like to watch my channel will donate and recognize it's a good cause. Ultimately, I think any dollar you generate is good, but I'd like to say, I'd like to think that we can generate some pretty good dollars. And ultimately, if I can't fish the tournament, I can't fish the tournament. Like, the tournament is, that would be fun to fish, but I don't want to do it for the tournament. I want to do it to support the tournament. If that makes sense.
No, 100%. I mean, we talked about this last night, after the tournament while you guys were driving home. Like, I want to collaborate with you, Panger. I know that Pangrak's going to have a BTL sometime this week, and I told him, that I'll carve out some time to do that, assuming that it works with, my daughter's schedule. But I've got my notebook like literally right next to me, and I'm writing down ideas for fundraisers. I'm definitely going to do I don't know exactly what it'll look like, but I'm thinking about doing a Trust the Process St. Jude hat, social media type thing, where I'm going to create a hat, and everybody that buys a hat, the proceeds go to the St. Jude fundraiser for the Dick Hiley Bass Classic, and then do something special on social media with it. But then I also want to collaborate with you and whoever wants to help promote it as much as possible. But there's so many different ways, but I feel purposeful with it, because like, I've been wanting to give back to St. Jude this whole time I've been there, the last 3 months, in some way. And now I feel like I'm actually like I actually have a voice, in this kind of, this space of St. Jude, and so, I mean, my platform's not as big as yours on YouTube right now, but man, do I want to push this hardcore on there. So yeah, man, I think that you, myself, and obviously Pangrak's already doing a ton, but I think we got a lot of opportunities to fundraise for it. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I've seen something that we can, I think Matt's done a really good job establishing his relationship with St. Jude's. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I, Miles, can do that as well. And I think we can help solidify that for BTL as well.
Right.
I think all of us working together can help generate a lot of awareness. And I can't stress enough how, I went there, Miles. We went there. My family went there to support you, really. We haven't seen you in a while, and we just wanted to be there, right? Because I also know it was not an easy thing for you to be there, being that you're going through it. And we came out of there. We went there for you. We came out of there for the kids, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, I can't imagine, having 2 little kids myself, I can't imagine going through what you're going through. I can't imagine going through what all the other parents are going through. And St. Jude's is there for you guys, and I don't think there's any better option, that exists. So from that standpoint, we have to support the St. Jude's, and it's just a matter of doing it for the kids, and it's a matter of figuring out now. For me, it's like, hey, what can I do to help?
Right.
And and I think monetary is always a good thing, but I think bringing awareness to it is also potentially more valuable. And trying, we're small characters within the fishing industry, but we have enough of a platform to get more exposure out there. And the more people that are giving exposure, ultimately the more it should help from a financial impact.
On that note, so this is a perfect quote, and I'm not going to quote it exactly because maybe I will, but I don't know if I will. But so Danny Thomas is the founder of St. Jude, right? He's an actor, comedian, back in the day, and he started this organization. And there's a plaque on the wall at St. Jude as we're walking to our clinic that says that Danny Thomas said, "I'd rather have 1 million people donate $1 than one person donate $1 million to St. Jude." And the reason is because then you have 1 million people involved. And so that's exactly how I feel about this whole thing. Is like, I want to spread the word, because even if you don't have money to donate at the time, at least you're aware of it. And and it's all about awareness and being involved.
Yeah, and it could be the awareness aspect where that individual maybe didn't have any money to donate, but maybe they have a child that needs to go to St. Jude's, or maybe their family member has a child that needs to go to St. Jude's. So it's like, it's a matter of just creating the awareness that St. Jude's even exists to help people down the road. You'd like to think that, and you can probably speak more to this, maybe I'm completely off base with this statement, but you'd like to think that all children going through, something like Riley, some form of cancer, that they ultimately would be referred to St. Jude's. But I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot of kids that are not fortunate enough to go to St. Jude's, for rhyme or reason. And the reality is, the bigger we can get St. Jude's, the more kids can get treated.
Yeah, man, wasn't it wild during the banquet when they were talking about that? What country were they talking about? It was some South American country.
I'm gonna say Peru, but I don't.
No, it wasn't Peru. Gosh, where was it? So anyway, no, it was But anyways,
I was busy crying, Mom.
Yeah, I know. I was too. I mean, but essentially, so they were talking about, one of the ladies with St. Jude was talking about how there's a hospital down in some South American country, small South American country, probably doesn't have a lot of great resources, but their treatment of cancer, they were hovering around the 0% survival rate for childhood cancer at this hospital. And they reached out to St. Jude and ended up getting some technology so they could conference call with the doctors, the teams at St. Jude, to help treat their patients down there. And their, I think it was I can't remember the country, but their survival rate went from around 0% to 50%, within just a few years.
Yep. Just based on their doctors being able to talk to St. Jude's doctor regarding treatment.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You would think that it's like the money's going to just treatment of the kids at St. Jude's, but in this case, it was money that went for tech. Literally devices to communicate. And I mean, you got to imagine that there's a whole pile of other countries that are similar.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's just a matter of, because I think so so much of the research as well. That's one thing that I think probably a lot of people aren't aware of is, it's the research that they're providing that's helping kids in other countries as well. So
right.
So, dude,
it's wild.
All the people out there, dude, it's the kids that don't deserve any of it.
Right.
So to make it as comfortable as possible and to help as many kids as possible is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and families. But anyways, how wild was that banquet? Like, I mean, I felt really, it was really a weird experience for me, to be honest, because I constantly, like, my leg couldn't stop, like, shaking. I was like clenching my fists, and I was like holding back tears the entire time, and then of course when my daughter's image went up on that screen, I just broke. And thank God I had Sarah right next to me to kind of, comfort me a little bit. But it was, dude, there wasn't a dry eye in that house, in that building. It was a really special. That was a really special, dude. I was telling Katie last night. I was like, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I figured it out at the end of the tournament. It was like one giant bass club. Like back when I was like part of the Chico and Paradise Bass Clubs back in California, like bass clubs are more than tournaments. It's like a community, and they always come together for like good causes and working events and things like that. And it's the best form of camaraderie in the sport, in my opinion. And it was like one massive bass club that anybody could participate in, and they did that. I think that's why everybody's so invested, is because it has that kind of bass club feel, like it's their tournament.
Well, that was the thing that was so shocking to Sarah and I, as an outsider, being not a fishing angler, not somebody who was working the event. We were there just taking everything in. I mean, we walked away from it literally talking on the drive home, like how shocking it was for us to be so accepted, if that makes sense. Like, like so many people just happy for us to be there, and if there's anything we can do to help, and it was, I can't stress enough, like with what you just said, it really felt like a family atmosphere, and it was solely because everybody there recognizes the value that's being brought.
Right.
And that's what I meant earlier when I say it's like the tournament is secondary. Like, absolutely there's competition taking place, but I mean, as an example, Miles, that the banquet occurred after the day of the first tournament, right? So most of the anglers would be in a normal situation. Most anglers would be like, well, I got to go back, I got to rig up, I want to go to bed, I don't want to go to a banquet, right? And in this case, everyone was like, okay, we got to get over to the banquet, we got to go to the banquet. And it does feel like a big bass club environment, and I think a lot of that is because a lot of the guys, again, it's a small knit group of anglers really that are doing it. When you think about it, 87 boats is not a crazy amount of teams. I mean, it's kind of like the same guys that fish a lot of the tournaments on those stretches of river are the ones doing it,
right?
And they just recognize how valuable it is, and to the point, in a way, from and I know this is not true by any means, but in a way, I feel like I don't necessarily want to make it a huge event where you've got all these pros and everyone coming to it. Now I know that brings a lot of exposure to it, but it's like those guys are doing such a great job already that you don't want to take any of the positivity away from what they've already done and change. Like, I'm not saying that it would be a bad thing for 300 boats to fish it. I just feel like it would. I don't even think that they can. I was talking with Ross
Ross Evans, who's part of the tournament. He was saying that their permit's only for like 100. You know, and I think that's the right. I think that's the right number, you know, and at first my inclination was like, I got to get everybody up here. But I think you're right, because the more I think about it, the more I think that intimate group that actually fishes the tournament is the right number. It's just, I want as many people, I want everybody to know about it. Maybe not fish it, but to know about the motivation behind it and what the whole idea of it is.
And the thing is, it doesn't sound like a big deal to go from what they have 87 boats.
Yeah, I think so.
It doesn't sound like a big deal to go from 87 to 100. You're like, well, that's only 13 more boats. But the way the payouts are, if you generate the $5,000 in fundraising or donation, that $5,000 qualifies you then to receive the top prize of $25,000. Well, that extra 13 teams, most of those teams I think do get to the $5,000 mark, if not tens of thousands of dollars more. Well, 13 teams that do $5,000 more, that's an extra minimum. If they hit that threshold, is $65,000 in additional money. Like, that's a lot of money to be raised, and it would not surprise me if you just do it based on averages. $800 and some $1,000 were raised by those 87 teams. That's actually roughly $10,000 per team. So you're probably bringing in more like $130,000 just by bringing in those 13 teams, which is why, I do think that, you need kind of the right thing. You want the anglers that are there to generate the funds and bring awareness. Yeah. Versus just like, hey, I just want to raise what I need to raise just to qualify, and I'm gonna go in there and try to cherry pick it.
I think that's all. I agree. I think that's something that they probably will only happen once. Like, I think once you get there and experience it, you're vested. I mean, you've got like your whole idea of what it is. Like, I went up there to fish a tournament and just be part of it and to support it the best I can. But I only signed up like 3 weeks before the actual event, I think. And so I didn't even know I didn't know the ins and outs of the fundraising component of it, which now I do. And I wish I could have raised more this year by starting earlier, but obviously a lot going on. But next year, we're starting today. We're starting today for next year, and so our team only raised 6,700, and that's a pretty good number. And we were in I think 35th place for fundraising, which is pretty crazy. That there's 34 other guys that raised 6,700 or more, ahead of us, and most of them way more. So. I don't know, man.
And having said all that too, even if you just want to raise the $5,000 and fish the tournament, I mean, so I was there for takeoff on day 2. Like, so I mean, there's not another tournament, at least in my neck of the woods, that treats the anglers as well as they do just from a tournament perspective, right? Like, there was an amazing breakfast there.
Dude, did you have the biscuits?
Guys.
You had the biscuits, right?
I did snatch a biscuit, and it was phenomenal. Like I didn't know we could get biscuit sandwiches like that up north, because generally
so
you gotta
good.
Go. Like, it was dang good. Plus, they had like Danish.
The turnover. What is it? The turnover is what they call it. Scott. Yeah. Scott was like doing backflips for these. Yeah, he got yesterday morning. We're sitting there for blast off. We got a fog delay, and I look up. I'm like, I got to get a turnover, and I see that he brought 2 bags of turnovers. I'm like, oh, what a good guy Scott is. He brought me a turnover, and well, turns out they ended up running out, and I'm like, oh, where'd you put those turnovers? He's like, what do you mean? What turnover? I was just like, you brought both of us a turnover. He's like, no, I got 2 for me. And I was like, what? You got 2 for yourself, you little pig?
Yeah, he's stingy on those turnovers.
Me
too. It was so good. But I mean, but like everything, like the way they run it, it's very well organized, very well run.
Super well
You know,
organized.
they tell you every boat gets the go ahead, you know, to take off.
Go!
Like yeah,
That guy
there's
was
a
trip.
lot. It's just a very well run tournament, you know. And then you throw in like the banquet meal was fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know, drinks like it was. I mean, it's a big ordeal, but the anglers are treated really well. You know, they had like sponsors there. Yamaha had their big trailer, board set up. I mean, they had a flyover. They had fire trucks. Like, I mean, it's a big ordeal.
Yeah.
And
I fished a lot of really cool events. I fished TBF National Championship, Boat US Collegiate Bass Championship, fished the All-American, fished the Cup. I've fished a lot of really cool events where they really make you feel special. Of course, a title championship, but this one was on par with those, but the extra emphasis on a very special humanitarian cause really pushed it above all the other ones, and you also felt more like a group, like you were all there as part of something big. It wasn't just you're flying in to compete in a tournament,
Yeah.
And so I mean we've beat that concept to death, but
you had a long fog delay on the second day, and generally with a fog delay, and honestly, like, it was bad on the river, but I've gone out in worse, like, tournaments.
Yeah.
And really when that happens, where it's kind of like on the line of being, should we go, shouldn't we go, like the anglers are like, no, they're like, let us go, and they get grumpy, and in this case it was just like the anglers an hour later still standing there with a smile on their face, just happy to be.
Yeah, you didn't see anybody storming over to the tournament director and just being like,
No.
You need to let us go, you need to let us take off now. It was like we all just enjoyed talking to each other. I met so many cool dudes there, well, also ladies too. I mean, there was a lot of people just behind the scenes that I got to meet and become friends with. So it's going to continue to just be kind of like a big old get together with my Midwestern and St. Jude friends, every year.
Yeah.
But I got to ask you, because now we need to talk about the fishing a little bit. We Scott and I ended up finishing 42nd, which still top half, but barely. And we had a good time. We had a good first day, but we kind of burned. We kind of scorched earth in the areas that we had. I mean, we had like 4.5 hours of practice, maybe 5 hours, and we only had 2 areas, and those got kind of burned up. But we were talking on the phone yesterday, and I was telling you how hard it was, like nearly impossible to get the largemouth to bite. What would you have done differently in my situation? What scorecard would you give me for my sight fishing if you were to just look at the smallmouth I caught?
I mean, it's hard to answer that because I
Be
wasn't
nice.
watching that, but
Well, I'll have a video out this week.
here's the thing: the smallmouth scorecard. There is no scorecard for spawning smallmouth. Like, it's you either catch them or you don't, and there's really no reason why you don't catch them, in my opinion. meaning like.
So I got an average. I got a C.
Well, yeah.
I got a C on smallmouth.
I would ask you this: Did you pass up any smallmouth that you didn't think were catchable?
No. I caught every smallmouth. I caught every smallmouth that I bed fish for, or lost every. I lost a few, and there was one that just vacated the bed after I lost it, and then I broke one off yesterday that really wasn't thoroughly locked on anyways.
Okay, well, that's why I'm saying, like, smallmouth, there's no scorecard, because generally speaking, I'll bite.
Yeah.
The largemouth, I mean, obviously largemouth are more finicky on the beds. I ultimately feel like if they stay within, a 3 or 4 foot donut of the bed itself, every one of those is catchable.
I would agree with you, but under the time limit, I would have loved to take you out there with me because, like, I may not sight fish a lot in tournaments, but I feel like I'm pretty good at reading fish and ultimately catching them. I may not be the, the best or the top, 10% or something like that, but I feel pretty good about my bed fishing, and they were just brutal. It was amazing. I would try to piss those fish off and ultimately get them to eat. And given this is not really an excuse, but I didn't have like all the finesse gear that I had. One Ned rig in the boat. I'm still, my boat is still packed for Okeechobee, which is fine for general fishing on the river, but for finesse gear I was kind of lacking. But dude, I tried everything in the book, and I know that if I gave them more time I could have done it, but with the limited amount of time that we had, and also I had an issue, like Scott and I were going back and forth on what we wanted to do, because we had that other location where I was flipping and trying to do some frogging that was up closer to the lock. And so whenever you have something on your mind, you tend to maybe fish a little bit faster than you should. And that was kind of an issue too, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm not going to sit here and judge your fishing miles. You're a hell of a fisherman, so I'm not questioning your skills by any means. We'll have to go fishing in the future, and if we get some more opportunities, we can learn from each other.
I wish I went back out there last night. I really do. I had a bone to pick. I really think that they started eating closer to 1, because everybody that I talked to, including Corey Hawk, is that how you pronounce his name?
Hawk.
Yeah, he's part of the committee for the Dick Hiley Classic, but he was saying like they didn't have a fish at noon or something like that, and they started biting, and that was about the time we ended up leaving our bedding fish at 11:30 to go try the other area. And I think that was a tactical error, judgment error, because we knew it was a bright sunny day and only more fish would be moving up, and I knew that was a possibility to make that mistake, and I think that was part of it. But anyways,
that's the joys of tournament fishing.
I know, and it was so fun to be able to do it. Even if I had a tough day on the second day, it was so much fun to be out there and be able to compete. I actually slipped right into it. It was like I came up thinking, I'm just going to have fun. It's for a good cause. I'm just going to have fun. But when I got on the water, I became a monster. It's kind of like a werewolf.
When they launched you on day 2, it looked like you went from like waving to the crowd to as soon as you put the foot down, it was great.
Started drooling. Yeah, started drooling and just. Oh, yeah, we were listening to Metallica. Your brother-in-law, he loves some Metallica, man.
Who doesn't love some Metallica?
I know. It was pretty good. We listened to it all the way down to the lock, and yeah. But all right, dude, we should probably wrap this up. We've gone 42 minutes. I'm going to take a screenshot of our call, but dude, I just want to thank you so much for you guys to come down. I've been missing you, this whole time I've been at St. Jude, and we're not fishing the same tournament circuit, and it's been, you've been a good, person to talk to throughout everything we're going through, and it was just so good to see you, man. Glad to hang out.
Yeah, we had a great time, and I honestly, to the point where I could say, like, I think it was probably a life-changing experience for Sarah and I, where we feel like we've got a little bit more direction in life, and we, or maybe a little bit more cause. I mean, that's how strong we feel about this. Like, we really want to get involved.
Yeah, same here.
Whether that's fundraising efforts or whether it's directly fishing it, whatever it is, it's a good cause worth supporting, and we were very happy to be there. We thought it was funny. We thought it was funny how it took us a little while to get your attention to recognize that it was us when we were waving at you. Like,
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
staring at us, and then it was like finally it clicked that we were there, and it was pretty funny.
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. The only thing that would be better is if my family could be up there, which Katie and Riley will be there next year. So
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Cool.
But anyways, dude, get back to the errands you're running this morning, and thanks for hopping on road trip, time travel. I think I've probably gone back and forth on the name. We still haven't solidified the name, but I think it's like going to be like road trip time machine. It's road trip time machine is what we're going to call this style of video. Road trip time machine. That's what I got to remember, because I think I've flip-flopped several times during this deal. But anyways, man, you have helped me time travel 45 minutes today, so eternally grateful to you. But anyways, bud, we will talk soon. I'm gonna let you go, and yeah, man, say hi to Sarah and the boys for me.
Will do, Miles. We'll talk to you later.
See you, pal. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, that was Matt STEFAN. He fishes. You probably do know him. Fishes the BPT. And yeah, so a lot of you out there watch his channel. He's got an amazing YouTube channel. He's really inspired me to do the same thing, doing a video a day, and really help share as much knowledge as possible. So go subscribe to Matt STEFAN Fishing on YouTube, and check him out on Facebook, Instagram, and I don't think he's on Twitter. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know this is a long, drawn-out video. Hopefully you can listen to it like a podcast, like it's intended. And yeah, if you're looking for ways to participate and support the Dick Hiley Bass Classic, let me get the exact website here. Let me get this. Okay, it's kind of like a drawn out, it's on the St. Jude website, so their platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the description below for the Dick Hiley Bass Classic. So that's a place that you can get more information on. But just as Matt and I talked about throughout this video, we're going to be doing a lot of different fundraising efforts for this cause, for St. Jude. And so just keep up with our individual platforms. We got some exciting stuff coming up. I'm definitely going to be doing a Trust the Process apparel fundraising program, and we're going to do some cool social media stuff where I get fans involved with that too. So just stay tuned. We got a lot of things that we're excited to do. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to see you out on the road and out on the water. Always trust the process. Take care.